Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Becker coming to you with another topic session with my guy, Coach Richard Barron. Great man, doing some really neat things. And today we're going to just talk about quality relationships. For those of you that don't know, his background, but I'll just say a little bit. Great background at the University of Maine, head basketball coach there, doing some great things, and has been at some really cool programs. But, in the past, we've talked about the relationships that has allowed him to achieve some amazing things, and those great relationships that he has and I have in my life that have been a blessing to me as well. And so just wanted to hit on some of the points. And first off, just say, Coach, again, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with me.
Absolutely. Great being here.
Yes, sir. Well, let's dive into it. What do you have on quality relationships?
Well, kind of reflecting on this, we talked about this the other day and set up this call, so I had a little bit of time to think about it. And I'll start with it starts with the family.
Yes.
It doesn't have to. I mean, sometimes it can be a bad family situation that motivates someone to change it, and to be the difference. So I want to say that if you don't have, two parents at home, you have no chance or anything like that. That's not the case. But for me, it certainly started, my father and the values he learned from his parents, my mother and the values she learned from her parents, really shaped me and gave me a lot of opportunity. If they weren't the people they are, they wouldn't have had the friends and the experiences that they had that led to me getting some of the opportunities that I had. And so whether it was, being involved with FCA and being at, Black Mountain Retreat in North Carolina during the summers around, NFL and NBA players it was mostly NFL that I remember, but a lot of those guys, I was exposed to athletics, and at a high level at a young age. And it just made me feel like I could belong. I just was there. So it wasn't something that was unreachable. Same thing with, through that relationship, my dad was good friends with John Lotz, who was an assistant for Dean Smith and then became the head coach at University of Florida. And we lived in Florida. And so there were times when I would get to go into the locker room after a basketball game for the University of Florida as a kid. And some of the players like, Reggie Hanna or Richard Glasper would give me their sweatbands. And, and that was an exposure to people of different races. It was exposure to athletics of a high level. It was a exposure of coaching, at a high level, people of high character. And so I just was around it, when I was a little bit older and 14, I was, I think we mentioned this, I got to work for the U.S. Senate and on Capitol Hill as a floor page. And, that was being around, I was there when the votes were taken for things like the drinking age going to 21 for the highway tax bill that funding changed the drinking age. The MX missile being passed. It was an election year. It was 1984 with Ronald Reagan, and George Bush Sr. came in to cast the deciding vote. Just some, and I'm just standing there. I'm a little bit of my life. I remember watching Forrest Gump and thinking, that's kind of like me, like I was always around when stuff was going around, I'm a little bit like Forrest Gump. And so those experiences that my family, were able to allow me to be in certainly shaped me. So I got to say that that's where those quality relationships start, and they continue. I love my family. I'm very close with them. But part of the thing about being a quality relationship, I think, Chip, is that you can take time off.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be one of those things where you're with them every single day, right? And some of my closest friends are people that I might not have talked to for, I don't know, even a year. And I feel like I could pick up the phone and pick right up where we left off.
No doubt about it. And it's always great to have, yes, those relationships, but I think it's even greater when you have the awareness to know how fortunate you are. So that
Yeah.
when you are in those moments, you can really just take those moments in.
Yes.
So you're like, man, this is really cool. Like all these pro people, or
Yeah.
that's the president right there. Just those kind of things. I think too, there's a point that I wanted to hit on before we continue with yours. It's a quote by one of my former pastors, and in my second book, this is the quote that I start with. Is our life moves at the speed of our relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That quote is by Pastor Danny Green, and it's so true. I mean, I think those of us that are blessed to achieve some really neat things, we've had some really amazing relationships in our life. We've been blessed to have those. But then those that need to do better things probably need to have some better relationships in their lives.
Well, and I think there are different types of personalities, and there's some people who are, more social butterflies.
Yeah.
And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, variety is the spice of life. And at the same time, for me, I'm more about more in-depth relationships, fewer in terms of quantity,
Yes.
higher in terms of quality.
I like that.
And that's how I operate best. But having said that, I just don't see anybody, like the first thing I see when I see somebody isn't somebody that I don't think I could be a friend with. You know what I mean? Like that's, I look at everybody that way. And maybe a little bit of that's something that it comes from the diverse experiences that I've been able to have growing up. But it certainly, it makes for a richer life.
Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about, I can't remember if we were recording when we did, but as we were talking about everything that's going on in our country right now with Black Lives Matter and how important that is, I have a little bit different perspective in that I know what a gift having people of color in my life has been for me.
Yeah.
So very similar to, a disciple sharing the gospel. Why wouldn't I share that gift with others? Why wouldn't I tell other people, hey, listen, this is a good thing. This isn't about, I know for a lot of people, and appropriately so, I don't want to be trite here. It's fairness and equity and just human decency. I mean, all of those things are absolutely true, but it's also just really cool. Right. I've learned so much from, people who are different, people who
Right.
come from different backgrounds, and it's made me a better person. Why wouldn't I want to share that news with other people? Why would I keep that to myself?
It's definitely beauty in our differences.
Yeah.
Say that. I think we have to embrace that and look for the good and all of that. Just like you explained. I mean, there is, and that's one thing that I love about the college experience. Because the college experience really gives you that experience of where you have people from all over coming together. We're all poor, we're all broke, but we're still all struggling to get that degree and get to the next level. But then you have the best of the best there together, and you mold together and you learn so much. But then it's really neat to me. Like, I can talk to people and have relationships and conversations and say, what's it like where you from? How was it for you? But then when you get an opportunity to go visit, their home or those things, that's really when it makes it really neat.
Right. No, absolutely. I also, you brought up college. I think that those relationships, because, and I think even with this generation, that's still true, that, so much of the formulation of who you are as an adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your values. I mean, there's a lot of things that your family life, through grade school, your teachers there shape, but it's really your friends in college. It can be a professor or a coach, but the time that you spend with people your age, in with that sort of autonomy of college life really shapes a lot of who you are going to become. And I think, the other thing is that I think is really important in terms of quality relationships, and maybe thinking about some of the stupid things we do and say in college, things that I think back to, what I was like when I was 18 versus now. Right. Just have some grace. I mean, grace is just so important. Often we forget that part of it when we say, love your neighbor as yourself. We all want forgiveness. We all want to be judged by our intentions, not our actions. Wouldn't it be great if we flip that? I've heard that said before. Wouldn't it be great if we judged everybody else by their intentions and judged ourselves by our actions? But what we really do is we judge ourselves by our intentions, and we judge other people by their actions. That jerk cut me off. He might not have meant to, right? That's what he did, right? But if you're the guy who does, hey, I didn't mean to,
I love that.
We think about things in terms of what we intended and what the other people did. Let's flip that. What did they intend? Did they mean to do that? Did they mean to hurt me? And I think that would change, half the problems in the world instantly if we just did that alone.
That's awesome. Well, let's go into just talking about kind of opportunities from quality relationships. Yeah. And I know you mentioned how your dad, you had a great friend that allowed you guys to be in the locker room with great, but just, personally, I think that quality relationships is really the key that opens the door to our success, because we gain opportunities from that. Now, once we get the opportunities, we have to put the work in to make it happen. But, a lot of times, people don't refer you unless you're referable. Right.
Exactly. Well, I'll give you a great example of that. And we've talked about her before, Anisha Curry.
Yes.
I knew what I was looking for in an assistant. I didn't know who I was looking for.
Yeah. Right?
And when I was making this hire, and so I went to a few people that I really valued their opinion. People that I thought would have connections, right? And one of them was Gannon Baker, who is a tremendous skills instructor in basketball and a terrific human being too. And Gannon and I had gotten to know each other through some clinics, and especially some that he'd come up and worked at Maine. And so he knew specifically our situation. And I described for him, this kind of perfect assistant, which, is I don't know if there is such thing as a perfect assistant, just like there isn't a perfect person or head coach or whatever, but man, immediately he came up with Eddie. And well, Anisha Curry was in Vietnam coaching basketball, right? And I was in Maine, and I'm talking to Gannon, who was in Florida at the time. And, but through technology, we, Zoom, and actually it wasn't Zoom at the time. It was, whatever it was, Skype.
Yeah.
So, we got on and just clicked and connected, and she was everything and more that Gannon had said. And within a couple weeks of that first, introduction, she was on a plane flying from Vietnam to Japan to Los Angeles to Dallas to Philadelphia to Bangor. I mean, it was like a 28-hour journey or something like that. I don't know. It was just to make it in time for our lobster cookout, right? So she could start developing those relationships with our players and our fans, and I remember, going to get her Red Bull so she could stay awake, for it, because, she wanted that first impression to be a good one with all these people. And she's just been a real blessing, And, so it's the quality relationship that I was able to establish first with Gannon that allowed, Eddie to come into my life. And that's been a great partnership. And I'm so excited about, what her future is going to be too, because I just, quite honestly, I've said this to other people. I said, I hope she considers me when she gets her head job, maybe I can work for her, so that's the kind of, respect I have for her. And I think she's going to do great things. But yeah, so I think those, those relationships in terms of referrals are real, especially in the, the business world. You know, but I also think you've got to, you know, it's important as a person, as a coach, as an employer, whatever, you to push your boundaries a little bit, get outside your comfort zone. Too much of, you know, what we have today, we get all our news and our information through an algorithm that just, you know, it's an echo chamber. It just sends what we heard right back to us, and we lose some of that spice of life, right? We lose seeing things from another perspective. You know, I like to watch different news channels. I switch things around, not because I agree with everybody that's on. I just want to hear what other people are saying. You know, maybe it may not be something that I agree with, but I need to be able to hear things that I don't agree with and be okay. You know, like I can't be that fragile that if somebody, you know, says that they're for, I don't know, tax cuts and I'm not, that I'm not, you know, turn the channel off, you know. I need to hear, well, why are you, you know, maybe they've got something that maybe they know something I don't. Let me see. And if through that argument, it just convinces me, gives me greater conviction, well, then I'm stronger in my conviction, not less.
Yeah.
So, so I think that's true with relationships, Chip. I think it's really important that even with, I don't know, there's an old Girl Scout song. My sister used to sing it when we were kids. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold. And you know, life is like that. You know, it just constantly be pushing those boundaries.
Man, that's a good one to end on right there, Coach.
Yeah.
Man, that's some nuggets for you right there. I love it. Well, again, thanks so much for taking the time to talk the topic, quality relationships, with me. Always a pleasure to hang out with you, Coach. And again, I just want to wish you continued success on everything that you have going on.
Thank you, Chip. I look forward to continue our conversations. You're a great man and doing great things.
Thank
Hey,
you so
happy
much.
Father's Day to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Go get it.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this topic session. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.